Hi everyone, here I am with my Jungle Fury figures. I apologize for the wait, it's just that I've been quite busy and also on my off days I've been dedicating it to something else. So let me get started. You know what's funny? This is actually my third attempt. My first attempt, my webcam was not connecting because I'd seen it in another program and I wasn't. My second attempt, I did a very informative review, only to find out that my mic was not connected. So I'm gonna give it a third try. So here it is, the Jungle Fury figures. Before I begin, I want to note that their weapons indeed can make some unique combination, and those combinations, I'm not sure how to do them. I know it says on the back of the box, but honestly I do not really care enough to find out because the very last combination, they made it a bit complicated that after the first two tries I just don't care anymore. Also, I want all of you to take note of the builds of these figures right here. As you can see, compared to the vintage Power Ranger figures, they have a more natural build, meaning they do not have any exaggerated muscles, or the females don't have any exaggerated chests like we used to have from Space all the way through, I believe it was Ninja Storm, I don't know, but these figures had like a lot of extra muscles that obviously weren't in the show. In the show they just looked like natural people, like the Rangers were not overly exaggerated like the toys were. Also, the Mighty Morphin through Turbo figures had a block type build, which kind of made them look unpleasant because the females and males had the same build. So they basically used the Mighty Morphin through Turbo era build and the Space through Overdrive build, and they just fused them together, and this is what they came with. At least that's how I like to look at it, because they still have that smooth build that the Zeo figures had, but at the same time they had the of their way to give us a great line of figures. So let me start with the Bat Ranger here, and this was one of the Power Ranger lines where we actually got 3 new Power Ranger figures that so far isn't on the show, but there have been promotion pictures floating around in forums showing all of these Rangers together along with the Jungle Fury Wolf, and I believe it's called the Rhino Ranger. Anyways, let's start with the Bat Ranger. I gotta tell you, he's my favorite because to me he is a Silver Ranger, and I always loved silver. He can be mistaken for a Silver or a Black Ranger, and Silver and Black Rangers were always my favorite next to Yellow Rangers. So this is the Bat Ranger here. Let me show you his articulation. Basically, for articulation for males, you had a ball joint right here where you could rotate their legs. You can move them from side to side like so, and also from their knee you could also bend them. And you can also, they also had an added articulation feature which I really hated, which was the feet right here you could move. This particular feature really made it hard for the figures to stand. I mean, if you have a really hard surface, you will have no problem posing them or making them stand. But if you have a bit of a soft surface, good luck to you, they can't stand properly. As for their head, it can move, you can turn the heads. Also their hands can move from side to side, and also their wrists can move as well. You can rotate their wrists, and you can move their hands up and down, and also from the elbow region you can move their hands as well. So the Bat Ranger, let me try to make him stand properly, came with these weapons right here. Basically this is what the Bat Ranger's weapon came with. Came with 2 of these halves. You can combine the 2. You can make like some kind of large bow. Let me just show you the Bat Ranger holding the weapon. And his weapon was also one of my favorites compared to the other Ranger figures. So here we have the Bat Ranger holding his weapon. Nothing too complex, and here we have it, the Bat Ranger. And next I will show you the Shark Ranger. The Shark, basically the articulation is the same for all the males, so I'm not gonna go over it individually for each Ranger. With this really long sword. And let me just show you him holding his sword. That's what he looks like holding the sword. It's pretty neat. I've always been a fan of really large weapons. I don't know why, it just looks really awesome on them. It looks very threatening. So that was the Shark Ranger. And I'd like to point out the shade of the Shark Ranger. It's a lot lighter than the Blue Ranger. So I'll show you the Blue Ranger next. The Blue Ranger came with the Jungle Tomfas, I believe it's called. You either hold it like this, or on the bottom over here, or you can hold it like so. So let me just show you the Blue Ranger holding his weapons. Now this particular line of figures were known as sensor shock figures. So Red and Blue Rangers both came with these two weapons here. I don't know which weapon came with which Ranger, so I'll show you them both. There we have it. And I believe this is the Blue Ranger's weapon. And this is the Red Ranger's weapon. It's part of a collect them all gimmick. Basically they come with separate pieces and you have to collect all the Rangers in order to combine and some really odd looking weapon. This usual Bandai gimmicks. So that was the Blue Ranger there. Next I'll show you my second favorite figure. Oops. The Yellow Ranger. As you can tell, the skirt isn't molded on. It's like a separate piece. Also, as far as articulation went, you couldn't move her leg any further than this because as you can see the skirt is kind of in the way, and also you can move her head side to side, and her hand had a much more different articulation. While you could move her hand up and side to side and up and down, her articulation was actually above her shoulder, elbow region here. Let me try and show it to you. It's actually up here. See, there's a little ball joint there. We could move her hand like so. And like the rest of the figures, you can move her foot up and down where the knee region is. And you could also move her feet up and down. This figure actually had the most problem standing because her foot was small. They stand no problem right now because the surface they're on is hardwood. So if they're on a slightly soft surface, they easily topple over and fall. So that was the Jungle Fury Elephant Ranger. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Let me just introduce you to the weapons that the Yellow Ranger came with. Basically came with these two long staves, which could then be joined together to create one really long staff, which looked like this. Let me show you the Yellow.